Save the World reaction number 2 today. The worst members in Opium. The thumbnail is Homicide Gang. Kick them out. Now, this is shortly after the Summers altercation where they jumped him after he swung first, though. So technically it was his fault, if you ask me. But I mean, I've been saying this since the very beginning. I was like, yo, they're kind of mid. And then everybody got all mad at me. Like, there are definitely some songs that I really like by them. I just wonder if like they're bringing anything really new to the table, because Opium as a label, they already kind of invented, or not invented, but popularized this style of beat with like the electronic or rock infused trap beats. Ken and Cardi and Lone, you've already did that. Maybe Homicide Gang does it a little bit like more aggressive, and then they put like a trap type Atlanta trap flow on it and rapping. But you know, it kind of already they used some of Cardi's ad libs. Like, I never really thought that they were as big as what they were, I don't know, supposed to be. Like, a lot of fans were just dick riding it just because they're signed to Cardi, which, you know, that is a good cosign. And again, I do think they have good music, but I didn't think it was as great as everybody was claiming. Like, a lot of the music just sounds the same to me. I don't feel as though they're like that versatile, but you know, it came around a little bit. Came around, like, they got fire beats. Sometimes it's a little bit too aggressive, because y'all know how I feel about very grungy beats. But let's see what Save the World has to say.
Worst Opium member. Not necessarily because he was just absolutely garbage, but let's be honest, Lone is a really inconsistent guy music-wise.
So he's saying Destroy Lonely is the worst now?
Compared to Ken and Cardi, who seem to slowly develop their sound and progress as time goes on. But I also used to unironically think Homicide Gang had the best music out of the entire Opium label. Not because I thought Bino and Michi were super experimental or abstract, because they're not. Anybody who listens to them can see they're actually pretty basic, but because it was just 100% good rage music. But the past few months, that perception of them has come.
But wait, I feel like Lone, before Opium, had his own style of music, which was really great. So I think he could have made it. I feel like he's one of the only members that would have blown up. Actually, I feel like Homicide Gang, as much as I just said that I thought they were like mid, but given that they have such a potent combo of, like, again, it reminds me of like Glock 40 Spaz, where it's like Atlanta trap type rapping on rage beats, or like new gen beats, whatever you want to call it. So that combo isn't really done very much, since a lot of people try to just bite Cardi or like do auto tune, like Sofago type rapping on rage beats. And so maybe they would have blown up by themselves, although I don't even know if they were rapping before Cardi, but I don't know. But then Lone had his own style too, so I think he was already kind of blowing up without Opium. So maybe he got a better deal than Ken because he had more leverage. Who knows though?
Completely changed with me. First, I know y'all heard about the allegations regarding Bino. Every day we heard about the allegations, and they still follow Bino to this day. But then they dropped this new album, Fifth Amendment, and I
actually don't think people actually, like, fans are just using that as like a troll cope, but they still will follow the artist, even though they're like, they got caught red-handed doing some dirty stuff, and like they'll troll about it, but like they're still gonna listen. But I do feel like because of those allegations, a lot less like more mature people maybe stop listening to them, or even care less. Like, I didn't even listen to the last project yet because I just thought, like, we've already received 1 or 2 projects and they're kind of just making the same shit over and over.
Let me tell you, the word mid doesn't even cut it. This is beyond low quality. It's a very obvious step back. This really sounds like a project any other small artist on SoundCloud could have made if they wanted to. The most generic beats I've ever heard, same flows, and for some reason Bino is still scared of Michi's lips coming anywhere close to that microphone. They have some nasty allegations and the music's getting stale. I was thinking these these guys are completely losing it. But now after seeing Summers get Jiraiya at Boxfest, while some people saw this happen and thought, finally, the underground is back, which I agree with, it has brought some energy back into the community, but think about it like this. It might be good for the underground community that thrives off of constant drama and toxicity, but is it good for the Opium label that's currently going up in mainstream status?
I mean, I've heard that they're kind of like distancing themselves. Like, when's the last time that you actually saw Cardi, Ken, Lone, Homicide Gang all together? Or at least Homicide Gang with any of the other members? Whereas you see Ken, Lone, and Cardi not frequently, but like it's kind of regular. Not regular, but you get what I'm saying. Like, people still freak out and it gets hella likes on Instagram and whatever, but you see that way more often than Homicide Gang really being with anyone other than themselves.
This situation just proves to me that Homicide Gang is holding Opium back. For one, the gang activity. Now, I know you might be saying, save the world, Cardi himself associates himself with that type of lifestyle. Why is it a problem if Homicide Gang is involved in the label? Well, as you can see, Homicide Gang just jumped another artist, which, let's not act like Summers really didn't deserve it. I don't know why he thought it would be.
Regarding that, though, you would think that Homicide Gang would be coming out on top, but I feel like Summer's relevance is at at least a recent peak after even like getting jumped, even though he lost the fight, which kind of tells me that the fans don't even really like Homicide Gang personally as much as they do Summers, or maybe Summers is just better at playing into the troll or like the antics. But that's why I think Summers came out on top. Like, whoever's more relevant, you know? Also, it was an unfair fight, so.
Okay to attack a group of 20 people, but let's say Homicide Gang gets bigger along with the Opium label and they start interacting with bigger artists, like artists way bigger than Summers, then this is a huge problem. Hear me out on this. You see the sympathy Summers is getting now despite being in the wrong. Imagine a bigger artist getting jumped by them with like a more dedicated following than Summers, which honestly really isn't that hard. The media would be in a frenzy. Remember the Rob Stone and X situation? Yeah, nobody was on Rob Stone's side. Nobody really thinks it's cool to jump someone anymore, especially if it's a beloved artist. And another thing, I know y'all have heard about this to death, but just check out where I'm going with this. Remember when the Bino allegations first came out? The people who came out with the information said the entire Homicide crew had a history of doing that, not just Bino and Michi. So at this point, it's not just two artists that can try to meme their way out of allegations. It's an entire mob of people that can easily leave a stain on Opium's reputation as they get bigger. And again, music-wise, they just need to make a massive comeback and really drop some more hits. Otherwise, combined with this other stuff, they probably will just end up falling off and or holding Opium back. Quick question for you though, how do you actually feel about the Summers and Homicide Gang situation? Some people told me they thought like, not that it was staged, but whatever started backstage happened because they wanted to start drama and they knew it would get some mutual attention. And to be
true, because weren't they dissing him on stage? So maybe they wanted him to swing. Maybe they knew that he just had nobody back there to fight with him. So they're like, oh, we'll talk mad shit because we got 20 versus 1.
Be honest, it is kind of conspiracy theory-ish, but honestly 90% of the community at this point is just paid drama and labels trying to get their artists out by any means possible. We spend a lot of time talking about artists, criticizing artists, talking about drama between artists, but we don't spend a lot of time listening to music. The character has completely outweighed the sound.
Honestly, facts. That was a bit of an abrupt ending, but I guess that was powerful message. And I agree. Like, the fans love the antics more than the music a lot of the times. I mean, personally, I fall into that too. Like, it turns more into a reality TV show than actually the music. And then that's the whole marketing strategy behind labels now. Like, create the narrative and then convert them into listeners after that. But that's just because there's so much music being dropped every day that nobody can ever listen to every single song that drops. So you low-key got to hook them in something outside of music to then listen to it. So overall, yeah, is Homicide Gang the worst in Opium? I feel like it's just like a high competition. Like, you're going against Lone and Ken and Cardi, of course. Them being the smallest artists, they're always going to be perceived as the worst, technically. Although I don't think they're that bad. I just think that they're not as good as the other ones.